Well, that concludes our segment on what this patch got horribly wrong and what we could have changed to make it a lot better.
Yeah, I feel kind of weird about that. Like, we really took the gloves off, held Bungie's feet to the fire, really ripped him a new one. I mean, it's unlike us, but I
felt good.
I guess we did
felt good.
I mean,
oh shit, guys,
something.
I'm sorry. I wasn't recording any of that.
Oh, well, let's record another podcast.
Just cut it.
Okay, all right, fine.
Here we go.
By these walls, for now at least we save, we procreate to save our race. At least that's what we say. I think we do it anyway. Look over your shoulder.
Hey, Swain. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's been a very long week. That's pretty much how I'm gonna say it. It's been a long week, and I couldn't be happier that I am going on a small vacation.
Oh, hardest working man in show business.
Anyway, Bones, how are you?
I feel like you guys always have a full conversation before you ask me what's up and introduce me. Like, I feel like there's always a lot said, and I'm sitting there like waiting to complete the circle of like, and I'm here too.
Some weeks we don't even acknowledge you. We forget.
Yeah.
So just be happy that I acknowledged you.
I appreciate your acknowledgement, Swain. Birds, how are you?
I feel like I didn't really get the answer to Bones. How are you doing?
He's upset.
I'm very upset. My best friends have been ignoring me.
Oh, okay.
In terms of Destiny, though, I'm excited.
Yeah. No, man, I'm good. I'm golden. I gotta say, I know we generally save plugs for the end, but I kind of want to just mention it up front. Swain, you had a first this week.
Yeah.
Your first ever cooking stream.
Hey.
Oh my God. It was like watching a cooking show, except your best friend, who is also a really good cook, knows what he's doing and he's hosting it, and chat is hype AF and he plays along with all of your stupid jokes in chat. I would watch this cooking show every night of the week. I'd fall asleep watching this.
Hey, yeah, I mean, I had a great time. It was interesting. Interesting to tackle it after I've been planning it for so long. This one was just kind of get my feet wet, see if my setup actually even works. I was worried I would get in there and my dinky laptop wouldn't be able to handle the fact that it needed to stream from 3 cameras on OBS. So it was fun. It was fun. I look forward to doing some more specific stuff.
It looked really good.
The fun things.
Yeah, I want Swain to cook me dinner. Prep all my. We're going to be advertising a new meal delivery service where Swain comes to your house, hangs out with his skulls.
Really expensive
and,
tier on Patreon.
Yeah, but it's definitely there.
It's like that thing on the Anti-Donna website where you can buy a t-shirt for $25 and a hoodie for $60. And then if you spend $5,000, Zach will come to your house and DJ a party. That's kind of what we do. Swain will come cook for you.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, this is, of course, Crucible Radio, the show for all things Destiny PvP. And we got some stuff to talk about.
Yes.
Just a little bit of stuff.
I'm making noises. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So 2.5.0.2 is coming, right?
Yeah. It's coming this Tuesday.
25.2.
Yeah. If you're listening to this right when it came out, it's tomorrow. If you're listening to it any other time during the week,
probably came out.
I assume
already.
you can log in and test this out. But before it comes out, they did a little stream. Deej sat down with Josh Hamrick and Greg Peng. Greg, who's been on this show before. We really enjoyed talking to him. We hung out with him in Seattle last summer when we were, watching Birdsy get married. And not at the same time. Greg wasn't at your wedding, but we later hung out with him in the city of Seattle, far from the wedding. And they demoed a few of these changes by hopping into a private match and then playing a little bit of Rumble. And
again, this was not at my wedding. This was
right. It's all on stream. Right off the bat, there were changes that I did not expect at all. And for about half an hour, all I could tweet were just GIFs of people laughing nervously because that's how I was feeling. And I was like, oh boy, how is this going to get received? But a lot of interesting stuff.
It was an interesting live stream because in the past, they haven't really done anything of this nature. They've done like a live fire thing where they just kind of like they're in a PvP match and they were kind of going at it. But that was always before private matches were around. So they didn't really like show off or flex the fact that they could just go into a custom made Rumble match and shoot at each other for 30 minutes, which is what they ended up doing. They were doing some stuff that we do. Like when we get a new patch or check something out or want to test something out. All right, go stand by that tree and I'm going to fire this thing at you and we're going to test it and we're going to show you what the numbers are when you get headshots. And then I'm going to back up a little bit, try hit to you with another headshot. And then we're going to keep going until I can't hit you with headshots anymore. But they were doing a lot of that. And it was unique. It was fun. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to stand on that special crate and I'm going to kill you over and over for science, for a good cause.
Yeah.
Definitely not just because I enjoy it.
Didn't the tester run out of medals throughout that too? Like it gave him the emblem of the medal.
He had a Phantom too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got all the way there. I have to say it was just amusing because, Bonesy, I agree. I don't think any of us were expecting it to like uncharacteristically, at least for me, to like go full bore speculation last week on the show and like not even come close.
I know, right? Just straight up.
Not even close. Like this is, I'm genuinely psyched, especially because Destiny is kind of in a place where it's so familiar. We know it inside and out. I was expecting another kind of surgical tuning. I think effectively, in a way, we kind of have a different game to play. There's some really fundamental changes here. And I think we're all going to come in on Tuesday and some stuff is probably going to seem smaller than it seemed in the notes. And other stuff, we're going to be just at the bottom of the learning curve, just figuring it out from scratch.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I don't know. It's overwhelming to think about. Tuesday is going to come around. We're going to have a very different Crucible to play in and to have fun in, because I don't like, not all of your guns, but a decent amount of guns that you're used to and you're used to playing with are not what you're going to be picking up on Tuesday. There's definitely some things in here that are going to get thrown into my inventory and I'm going to be checking out how they feel. And as always, we want to remind you that don't be Bones. Don't just say something sucks immediately. Give it more time. Definitely don't delete it. Kind of wait.
Also like Bones.
Give it some time because the meta doesn't shake out in a day. That's for sure. You'll find some gems. You'll see a Reddit post that says, "Hey, look, I found this really awesome, high impact pulse rifle. That's really great, cool. Like, and here's the god roll." And turns out that one is the one you want, or some trials gun is actually really good now. And now you got to go into the weekend hoping to get that trials gun. So give it a little while, test out all your guns. If it feels really good, stick with it, but definitely don't delete everything you have because there's going to be a time, 2 weeks, a month from now, where we find out like everyone is using the hell out of this one. And, you don't want to be that one person grinding strikes for it.
And then once you have an actual idea of what the meta is, delete your 30 hand cannons because you don't need 6 palindromes and 18 IS Lunas, because I know that's what people have. I saw an actual screenshot today of someone with 6 palindromes, and I said, "Why you need all those palindromes?" And there's no real answer. You don't.
I like them. No, I Swain, you're absolutely right. Like, it is going to take weeks to figure this out. And for me, that's like that idea of the metagame, like that's almost kind of the game for me, is we've got a new puzzle and we don't know how the pieces quite fit together. The first part of the puzzle is figuring out kind of how they fit together. And the second half is like, all right, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know how to do it because I've been rocking palindrome shotgun for the last 6 months. Now I need to learn how to do it. And I know this is probably an unpopular opinion, but like I kind of don't mind whatever the new meta turns out to be, because it's like, all right, it's pulse rifles and snipers. All right, I get to start thinking about pulse rifles in this archetype again. I get to relearn how to snipe all over again. And yeah, and still trying to find that edge, because you don't know if you've stumbled across the right answer yet or not.
Exactly.
Well, guys, so we have some stats. We have little bits of information. The full patch notes will be out after this recording. But do you want to go down the list of things that we saw and see what's up, see what's coming?
Yeah,
I think so. Where do we start? I mean, we could just start with the guns, or we could start with special, which I think kind of affects everything. Do we work our way to it, or do we just jump in?
That was one of the most surprising things.
Yeah.
Special ammo is going to be changing, and I think this affects literally everything else we talk about.
Yes, absolutely.
For the good or the bad.
And yeah, exactly. And it's always like, keep in mind, this change is made in a world where special ammo does what it does now. And I think that was really tough, especially watching through the first half and not getting to that detail.
Mm-hmm.
I almost wish there was like the first thing they said was, here's what happens to special.
Rip the Band-Aid off real quick.
Yeah, I know. I was like looking at the shotgun changes with a different, concept in mind. But without further ado, special ammo now disappears when you die.
Like heavy ammo. Like heavy ammo used to.
Oh, man.
When you die, it goes away.
It's gone. Special crates spawn every 60 seconds. There's a reduced radius for pickup, although it's not a lot. It's from like 100 meters to 75. That's not the biggest deal.
Very large.
Yeah, you're going to be more aware of special boxes anyways. I think that's going to be a little more minor change. And specifically in elimination/trials, you will start with special ammo, but it will not persist through the rounds.
So yeah, every round you're going to have to find your special ammo. As far as special ammo goes, sidearms are not affected by the special ammo change. You will still spawn in every single time with sidearm ammo.
And interestingly, things that generate special ammo, so not sidearms, but of course, Invective and Icebreaker, they will continue to regenerate ammo. However, you will still lose it when you die. So you go back to empty. So you still kind of have to wait. You don't have to wait that long, but you're not going to be able to fire that shotgun at the beginning of the round.
I thought it was really funny when I saw a few comments start popping up about, oh, I guess I'm going to use Icebreaker to get around this. And I was like, no, having been using Icebreaker, you've been dealing with that problem while everyone else has special. I mean, Icebreaker is probably something you can go practice with to get used to respawning and not having special ammo. So it's kind of doing exactly what every gun is going to do without a trip to the special box.
Yeah, the thing with this, though, is I wouldn't focus too much on it, because we literally have no clue how this is going to play out into how people play. Especially with the changes to primary weapons. The changes to primary weapons could possibly change the way you play the game in a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, you won't be so reliant on your special ammo or having special ammo when you get used to the fact that every time you die, you lose it. So we shall see.
I think this does something really interesting. Like in high level scrim play, really controlling special ammo boxes is a necessary part of the metagame. When that special spawn comes up and you can deny the other team's special, it really changes your priority at that time. And I think what they've done here is they've kind of extended that to all players. Now, instead of saying, all right, special's coming up, let's control the boxes if that's your priority. Now you really have that decision every time you spawn. Do I sprint to the front and start engaging with my primary and help my team out? Do I wait for a special box or go find a special box? It's introduced a decision that you're going to be making constantly every match instead of, 2 or 3 times a match or not at all.
Yeah, I immediately started thinking about skirmish on Pantheon, for example. And I've been in games where our team's not paying attention. It comes down to that 9-minute mark and we get denied all 3 boxes of special ammo, and it sucks trying to recover from that. It can happen on plenty of maps, but Pantheon stands out, and that hopefully is less of a thing. I'm going to assume, just because boxes are coming back constantly, and that's a lot of time to spend defending special boxes if you're the team with map control. I don't know, but I think that is possibly a positive side effect of this change, is not spending the game going, well, missed that special on the first drop. See ya in 6 minutes when I get a chance to fight back here.
And it changes it on the other side too. Like once you have special, your relationship to that ammo is changed, right? Like I will definitely, if I'm down to like 4 shotgun shells currently, like I'm not necessarily going to hoard them, but I'm going to try and conserve them. I'm not going to, try and warrior it out. I know I might need that last shell to save me if I get pushed and I need it defensively. And I think we're sort of seeing now that, at least with shotguns, that you really got to burn them if you got them. Like if you die and you've got a full shotgun, you haven't used it well. And that kind of relationship to your special weapon, and this is not my idea, I mean, I've been hearing this all over the internet, is really like that kind of harkens back to Halo and the power weapons. That if you happen to get your hands on that kind of advantage, you really have to press it. You can't sit on it. You can't stay still and get mashed by someone flanking you. You really have to try and take that edge you have and put it towards putting up some kills, before the other team takes it away from you.
Yeah.
I don't even know what else to say about special. I don't even know how it's going to play out. It could be tons of special all over. Could be less. I want to talk about the weapons. We'll just keep that in mind and then really dive down next week once we actually figure it out, because that, like I said, was a big surprise, I think, to everyone. A lot of people have so many thoughts, but I'm like, how are you guys so sure this is how it's going to work?
Yeah, a lot of it is using experience. A lot of it is using what they've felt before. We've done something like this. They've done something like this where the special was changed up in the past, but not so drastically. So a lot of people's speculation comes from a place of knowing the past and knowing how they just general knowing the game, but you can't entirely rely on that.
That was one thing they did not tell us on stream, is just like how it feels in 3s, how it feels in 6s. Is special like abundant? Are you starved for it? Is it like kind of fine and you can pretty reliably get a box from most spawns? That's just going to entirely depend on how it plays out in practice. And yeah, I'll have to wait and see.
So we've talked a bunch about special, but they only did one special weapon change. Well, one.
That's right.
One out of the 4. Was it 4? Shotguns, fusion rifles, sniper rifles, and sidearms. They only did changes to shotguns.
Oh man, I loved seeing that chart just to see how.
I love seeing all the charts.
I'm a chart nerd. I like visualizations. We call them viz.
Biz in the biz.
That is the nature of my biz, is all the viz. Because like everyone knows that shotguns are dominant, but just to see how completely dominating of a choice it is to pick that shotgun. Yeah, I don't know. You get a peek to see, aside from just how it feels when you load into pubs, to sort of see the big picture that only Bungie gets to. Yeah, I was glad to see it. Okay, let's get into it. What did they change?
We got decreased in-air accuracy, decreased magnetism, or no aim assist when firing from the hip. Removed
also going to be a problem for me.
Removed precision damage from shotguns, excluding Chaperone and Universal Remote. Increased ADS time for the rangefinder perk on shotguns by 25%. 20% buff to shotgun damage in PvE, and removed agility decrease.
Yeah. So that's a lot. There's a lot to unpack.
Oh yes.
Starting back at the top with the decreased in-air accuracy. So they're trying to cut down on this gameplay where you are flying through the air with a shotgun and just ready with your finger on the trigger, ready to just press it when someone either comes in front of you or you're about to land on top of someone. A lot of kills happen when, you just like glance into someone's, like you just cross paths in the moment. And that's probably the most frustrating shotgun kill, is when you're just like, how did he even know I was there? And how is he ready to kill me while I was there?
The drive-by.
And that's really just a matter of that person just hip firing their shotgun when they see you, and hoping that they're so close to you that they get kills.
And that the aim assist kind of does the magic for them.
And they kind of showed it off a little bit that when you are ADS, you can see it drag over the body as it gets going across it from one end to the other. But when you are hip firing, it doesn't grab that body. It doesn't automatically lock onto someone. So it'd be a little bit tougher if you're going through with that sort of like kill, or you're trying to jump and get closer on someone, and you feel like a hip fire is what you need to do. Not only are you going to get 0 precision damage from it if you get it on the head, you may miss a lot of those pellets because you're not getting pulled to the target.
This is a wild fantasy of mine. As someone who has struggled to become decent with a shotgun, the sort of standard complaint of shotguns take no skill. Collectively, this is 100% a response to that, which is, here are some things that make shotguns harder to use. Here are some things that give you more to work with. So you've got less aim assist. You've got to be dead on when you're in air, but you don't have the agility decrease. This is really an expansion of sort of the skill gap with shotguns, that maybe shotguns still take no skill, but post this patch, it seems like they do take a lot more skill than they used to before. And that someone who is truly good with a shotgun is not just spamming it and getting lucky, but they've made a choice to say, I'm going to learn how to deal with this gun that is still very powerful, but it takes a lot more precision to use well and use reliably.
So this rangefinder tuning thing for shotguns, I think it's a great step in the right direction for specific changes. Instead of removing a perk from a pool like they did with shot package altogether, I feel like this change perfectly did it, because it's gonna get people to start looking at other things. That increased ADS time when you're trying to use your rangefinder perk and get that really far map shotgun kill, it might be better to have something else. And I love that. I love that, like, oh, your perfect rangefinder shotgun now, it might be better for you to have luck in the chamber in it instead, or who knows. So there's definitely better options out there. I can't wait to see what people come up with.
I mean, it's certainly in line with their philosophy of making every perk viable and not just buffing up every, because how do you buff up every other perk that could be in that slot? It's nice to see that the definition of God roll's got a bit more space. I think rangefinder is still it's still the perk I want on my shotgun. But to know that if I get a shotgun that doesn't have rangefinder, it's not insta-shard, because rangefinder is now a bit closer to the other options you can get in that slot.
The thing I'm thinking of with this shotgun change really revolves around the in-air accuracy, and I totally see why it's super frustrating and kind of hard to counter a high-speed Titan that's got a few feet above you, and they're going to kind of put it right down on your face, and you don't have enough time to get above them. But I hope this doesn't hurt the defensive play of shotgunning, which is the dance and the bait. And one of my favorite things to do, especially on my Warlock, is hover over a door and see if I can get them to slide through. Like when they slide through and you just put it right down on their head, that is a satisfying feeling, and you feel like you outplayed them. But with less precision damage, those are often resulting in really solid concrete kills because you're hitting down onto their head. And in-air accuracy, it sounds like that's going to be a tougher shot to make. I'm just hoping it still rewards that smarter play. in that it's giving it to the guy who actually got his opponent to fall for his trap. And maybe just a melee follow-up is no big deal there because you are in the air. But yeah, I'm really hoping that dance doesn't get impacted so much, because it's one of my favorite parts about shotgunning is those weird, intricate moments where you're jumping over someone and you outplay them, even though, no skill.
Well, as someone who is not nearly as graceful a dancer as a shotgun with you are, there's another perk in that slot that I think just became a lot more interesting looking at this meta, and that's crowd control. Because if I'm going to go in with my shotgun and try and just get in the mix, get up close and get some kills, if the reality is that the odds are good I'm going to die some way in this process, I'm just trying to do better than trading. And now I've got this added pressure of really trying to get rid of all of my special ammo accordingly, because if I'm going to die, I might as well use it. I think crowd control becomes an interesting choice, because if I can maintain the skill enough to get that first kill, then trying to unload the rest of my shots and get some value out of them, they become a lot more valuable with that added bonus that it grants. I have not, that just occurred to me. I haven't dug through my vault to see if I've got a nice high impact shotgun with crowd control, but that's definitely something I want to try out.
Could also mean full auto is a very good perk to have.
Yep.
You want that follow-up shot for when you kind of just sprayed it the first time and didn't know if it would seal the deal. Also, just you're going to start needing that melee that much more. There's a lot of predictions that warlocks can be strong, but at the same time, I think every class is impacted pretty evenly in that case. It's going to take a little more work to kill, and I think that's the goal, right? A little more work to kill.
Next up, pulse rifles.
Yes.
Now this is interesting. We saw a couple changes across the board. So flinch reduction for all pulses across the board. For pulse rifles, high caliber rounds are not as effective. For all pulse rifles, the in-air accuracy is increased along with all of the other non-hand cannon primaries, always a nice thing. And then at the very lowest and highest end, we've seen a change. On the low impact pulse rifles, so Clever Dragon and Grasp of Malik, they did pull them down a bit. I think there's a lot of levers they could pull. And interestingly, they've decided to reduce the rate of fire, so it's 1 frame slower per shot. And on the high impact pulse rifles, we see an increased rate of fire there. I don't think many people have been rocking their spare changes, or if you've been holding onto a messenger, that they've really gotten much action. Those kind of fundamental changes didn't touch the Hawksaw archetype, didn't touch the Red Death Nerwin's archetype. What do you guys think?
I was kind of hoping that the low impact pulse rifles would be like easier for me to use with the rate of fire going down a bit, but like 1 frame, 7.7%, that's so small. That's very, very small. And some people just like that. Some people have liked the Grasp of Malak for a very long time. I don't feel super comfortable with that speed. So maybe the tweak to flinch and stuff means that I can go back to the ones I feel comfortable with, which is Blind Perdition, Hawksaw archetype. So I'm excited to try those pulse rifles again.
I think the biggest thing for me here is the in-air accuracy, because I've been obsessed with Icarus as a perk for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
And during this stream, they kind of mentioned that that everything else is going to get the benefit that hand cannons got from their in-air accuracy, which is interesting because hand cannons are so much fun to shoot in the air, especially if you're backpedaling or you're trying to escape, but you still want to finish that person off. Hand cannons are so good at that. And to see that pulse rifles and auto rifles and scout rifles will benefit from that same sort of I don't want to call it a hidden perk, but it's something that is just always been there and it's been fun that abuse. So I'm going to be looking for some more Icarus pulse rifles and auto rifles and scout rifles, because being able to shoot in the air and finish up kills, but also still being able to do other things that those other archetypes do should be fun.
One comment I've read a lot about the change to the low impact pulse rifles is that really the thing that makes them strong is their range, and that should have been nerfed somehow. Like, this is just me. I'm glad they didn't do that, because I too kind of prefer, something with some impact. If I'm going to pull in a pulse rifle and I'm going to get in the fray, odds are I'm going to be team shooting. I'm going to be, sort of grouped up on the front line. And my real goal is to do some damage for the shots I land. When I do pull out the grasp or my ancient but beloved Zizaji, the reason I want to use that is because it's a ranged weapon. That for that kind of style of weapon where you're doing quick, tight bursts, I'm almost using it like a shitty sniper rifle. I want to be back and lining up headshots and really pecking away at it. I personally have not had much luck using those in close or even medium quarters. I don't know. Who knows how it plays? This change, it makes sense to me.
I do want to add that, like, when I was talking about Icarus and being able to shoot in the air and the effect of these primaries, just keep in mind that you're going to be seeing a lot more of them. And being able to take advantage of the movement in the game and being able to take advantage of just simply flying through the air and still being able to shoot accurately while everyone, say literally everyone, has no special ammo on the map. It's just all going to be primary fire at that point. So if you are able to outmaneuver someone, outplay someone, whether it's in the air, whether it's going from cover to cover, whether it's, popping up from, a place that no one expected you to be, you're going to need to be better at that in order to win those gunfights.
Yep. Every time there's a reduction in rate of fire, that makes landing shots that much more important. Like, Bonesy, did you say it was like if you miss one shot with your palindrome, your TTK for that gun is down by 50%? Like, with a gun like this where you can fire it so fast and effectively you're just spamming it, this is a little more punishing if your aim is not quite on point.
Yeah.
Another thing occurred to me, the only explicit change they made to special was to shotgun. The reduction of flinch and flinch caused by high caliber rounds for pulse rifles, they've talked about it when we've had Bungie devs on, this idea that you push down a bump somewhere and something else changes. Do you think that this is going to change the usage of sniper rifles, in that there's, the pulse rifle at range versus the sniper is a pretty common matchup, and now snipers have got a little more time, a little more control to land a shot? Is there sort of a indirect buff there, do you think?
That's really hard for me to guess. I want to think so. I want to think that snipers will have more of a chance here, but I when I think of, like, what am I going to put on if I'm sniping, or what are they playing, I'm normally just considering their special weapon choice. And so I guess, of course, it all goes back to how everything affects each other. But I'm looking at, like, okay, is there 3 shotgunners in trials? Do I want to be sniping? Am I ready for that? Do I put on a last word to counter that push? Or do I switch to a shotgun because these battles are going to be up close? I don't know. I don't know if maybe 3 Clever Dragons has in the past convinced me to switch back to a shotgun, but I don't know if that's the main issue with sniping, or at least maybe my play style, or if it's just someone's ability to get up in my face and be aggressive before I can land that shot, rather than can I hit them from far away while they try to hit me from far away. I'm not sure.
All right, next up are auto rifles. They did a few things here. Obviously, the in-air accuracy is increased, like all the other guns. But they also increase base damage on the low rate of fire archetype. So they also did the increased critical multiplier from 1.25 to 1.3. So that's not much of a change, literally just 0.05 of a change to the crit multiplier. But over a bunch of bullets, that will make somewhat of a difference.
I mean, that's another skill gap change, right?
Yeah.
Like, if your current approach is, just spam Doctor of Passion and hope you land shots, you're not going to see a difference. But if you're a gifted Destiny player and can
just get all headshots with your auto rifle.
You can, like, auto rifles are all about tracking. If you can track and you can keep those headshots up, that 0.05%, that's not nothing. That adds up. I can also say, months ago, I sort of did a rotation where I just played every archetype on all the different subclasses. And one of the most disappointing guns I pulled out was my God roll answering chord of that low rate of fire, and just thinking, like, this ain't doing nothing for me. It'll be interesting to see if the base damage for that archetype, that buff there, is really going to change that, at least for me. But on paper, at least, that's welcome, because I put that gun away at the end of the day and said, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good.
This will definitely get me to pull my Soros out. I love the Soros, and I love pairing it with a fusion rifle, but it just wasn't doing the trick for a while there. So we'll see.
Soros is going to be interesting one to watch. Definitely one to try out.
The gun I'm going to take out of the vault is actually a does not bow. And I don't even think people recognize that gun when I say it, because it was
what?
It's a strike exclusive. And I think it drops on Taniks, even though most people go for the cloak. It's a high impact, low rate of fire auto rifle, but it's got a comfy 65 aim assist compared to like Grim Citizen and the other ones, which are all sort of like 40, 45. And so I don't know, maybe if I can get some sticky headshots, it might be a decent gun. But I'm excited for in-air play across all primaries. We're going to say the same thing about scouts, but maybe that's the answer to the dance that I was talking about, is that more gameplay can be had in the air from fun, cool jump shots and things like that. Who knows? It could be totally minor, maybe results in one more kill a night than usual, but I'm excited to try it out.
What's the changes to hand cannons, Birds?
The year one wish list is what changed. That significantly increased initial shot accuracy, aka Hawkmoon. Yeah, we know. And to compensate, they've made two interesting changes to range. They've reduced the base range by 5 meters, which is not a huge amount. I mean, this is something that they demonstrated really clearly on Bannerfall. Additionally, we see that the damage reduction, I'll just read it, reduced max range damage reduction from 50% to 33%. This, I love hand cannons. I am excited for this one. And this is something we've talked about on the show, that if you want a gun that, at least on that first shot, I mean, you still have to pace your shots. You can't just spam it as fast as the rate of fire will allow, unless you want to max out stability on your gun. If you want to try and snipe with your hand cannon, that is a viable option. Probably you're not going to win a long range 1v1 versus someone using a gun that's better suited for it. But as a team shot, or just as, every bit of damage helps, hand cannons are viable to long range. And I think, yet again, here's another place where we see an increase in the skill gap. Those players with great aim can do some work at crazy ranges that, rewards a skilled hand, rewards accuracy and pacing.
So the thing here is, we've seen a lot of argument over the internet about Bloom, in particular, in regards to how this works. But when I was watching this and watching them demonstrate how good initial accuracy is, and demonstrate that pacing your shots, it's just ridiculous. Like, you can hit someone from the entrances to outside all the way to tree on Bannerfall with your hand cannon. Is like, all you have to do is point it right at their head and it will work. It will hit them from so far away. I felt like that was the biggest complaint before, was like, hey, I'm missing my shots, and I put the hand cannon right on their head and I missed it.
Yeah, they made every shot like
I think
bonkers.
it's fair to take the hardest hitting gun, which is a hand cannon, and if you are firing it way too fast, you should be penalized for that. I think that you shouldn't get the max time to kill simply because you are really far away, and you can shoot your hand cannon 6 times in a row really quick. Like, oh yeah, I'm good at tapping R2 on my controller. It shouldn't work that way. You should have some sort of limitation, and it shouldn't get so out of hand, because if it did, if the rate of fire was so out of hand, you would see only hand cannons. There would be no reason to run anything else, because the hand cannons just would dominate from every position and from every distance. And that's kind of what we saw in year 1, is just a dominating hand cannon meta.
You remember when you could counter scout rifles across shores of time with hand cannons?
Well, yeah, with the last word.
Yeah. So far away.
I mean, it's worth pointing out, and I think they mentioned this on stream. One effect of the reduction of range is that along with your damage drop-off that comes with range, you also have a drop-off in aim assist. I mean, I feel like a broken record, but this for me is the biggest takeaway. More skill gap change. Like if you're going to be outside of the range, you better be an absolute dead eye with it, because you don't just have that free stickiness that year 1 was so well known for.
Yeah, that reduced base range though is interesting though, because it's gonna reel in some of those exotics. Like I think last word goes down to 16 meters at that point, which is pretty close. You're gonna have to be pretty close to be using your really hard hitting last word to its fullest effect. And you should be able to get that close, because not many people are going to be charging at you with shotguns.
All right, we got one more weapon. I got something to talk about here. Not a huge change, but yeah, take us there. Bonesy, tell us about scout rifles.
Well, they get in-air accuracy increased, like all the primaries.
Now, you are a fan of scout rifles, are you not? One in particular?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Not like the others. If you've never listened to this show before, welcome. But I have this one that I always use. It's got Outlaw and Life Support and Brace Frame and MD Reflex, the best scope for primary weapons and some special weapons. But I really like that gun. I use it in trials all the time. I can go up against lots of good players with it. I think it's awesome when it's rusted lands or something like that. But with this in-air accuracy increased, I actually have this second, not like the others, that I didn't even remember keeping. But I'm watching this stream, I hear that, and I look in my vault, and I'm like, huh. And it's got the MD Reflex, it's got Hidden Hand, it's got high caliber rounds, and it's got Icarus.
Oh.
And I was like, you know what? Icarus on a scout. I don't know if that's ideal. I don't know how many shots I'm even taking from the air and how many that have ever landed before. Hidden Hand, maybe that enhances that a bit, right? Like maybe that's extra accurate. I don't know. But now with this increased air accuracy and the idea that high caliber might be fixed on some of the guns where it works a little weird, that, not like the others, could see some action. So I will be testing out that gun. No one else has to. No one else is going to use those scouts all of a sudden, but I'll test that one out for you.
I definitely have a 2 Anello with Icarus.
Yeah, I think I bought that same one from the gunsmith that like wasn't the perfect roll that I wanted, but that gunsmith what do you call it, credit was just like burning a hole in my pocket. And I was like, all right, I'll take it. It's good enough. And I'm glad I did. I think that if you look at sort of the negative space of this change, that we actually do see not a change to scout rifles, but a bit of clarity, which is with the reduction of flinch for pulse rifles, we really see scout rifles cemented as the choice if you're going to try and challenge a sniper at range. I mean, both a scout and a sniper are designed to operate at the same ranges. We see no flinch reduction here, and like you say, maybe an improvement to the reliability of high caliber rounds. There's a bit more clarity now that if you want to try and, let's say you're going up with some snipers, but you don't want to put away your shotgun, that a scout is really the pairing that's going to help you out there, at least the most compared to the other primary choices.
Well, that does it for weapon changes. Like we said, special ammo probably going to play a big role in the fact that they changed all of those primaries around. The lack of special ammo, or more so the fact that people will be searching for some more special ammo after they die, or just relying on their primaries more, will make those fights a little bit more interesting. But that is not it. They did some changes to subclasses.
Well, I think we know who's reading each one of these. So first up, we got some changes on the Hunter class. Throwing knife does solar damage. They did some kind of change to blink. I want to say there's, you lose your HUD for a second. And blink is one of those things, maybe with the change to shotguns or special ammo economy, that blink is going to, maybe be a viable, at least defensive jump choice, if not an aggressive one. The one that's interesting to me is the change on the Blade Dance. Hungering Blade for Blade Dancer now immediately grants health instead of regenerating health. Shields no longer regenerate on kill. They talked about this on stream. The idea is that, if that Blade Dancer lands one kill, he's now good to go to try and chain it, and get the wipe. Now you instantly get your health back. You still get that boost, but you don't get, effectively, half a second later, everything back. So you can still be taken down with a team shot. You really have to dance around it. This one's interesting to me. I get why they did it. I don't know how much of a need for it there was. It might make some of those other last column choices interesting for Blade Dancer, because, I don't know how many times I've been in a match and seen a Blade Dancer not using Hungering Blade and go, oh, he's dumb. I wonder about this one. I want to play this one, but I'm not sure.
I mean, I can say that playing against Hunters, I can see some of the frustration. A lot of people's saying that it's too far. It's going a little bit too far, taking Blade Dancer down another notch. But I honestly can say that going up against the Blade Dancer that is right there with me and is right there capable of getting to me, I almost always decide that it's a loss. Like, all right, well, I'm not going to be able to take him down. I can't back up and put enough hand cannon rounds into him because of his overshield being really good. And oh no, there's a guy between me and him. He's going to have all of his health back. And it's like, I can see the frustration. I just don't know.
Hiding behind blueberries no longer a viable strategy.
If there's enough blueberries between me and that Blade Dancer, he may run out before he gets to me.
Okay, that's just to throw more blueberries at the problem. It'll go away.
I don't know. One of the other things about this, all these changes are, these aren't direct patch notes. We're not reading from a patch notes point of view right now. We're just reading off of notes from the stream. So who knows? Patch notes could come along on Tuesday, and there could be some sort of foil to Hungering Blade's change that makes Blade Dancer. Blade Dancer is going to be a great choice because they countered that with this change. So we'll see.
All right, Resident Warlock.
Okay. Well, so far as we know, before reading the patch notes, we've got reduced Stormcaller melee range. Landfall now reduces total time in Storm Trance. Blink will be adjusted in the next update, but no details. So yeah, maybe your Voidwalker uses Blink. We'll see. But the big one is to Storm here. Everyone hates that melee. Whatever, man. Their grenades are poop. And if they were like bringing up the grenades a bit, I'd be like, okay, cool. And let's make it a more balanced neutral game and stuff. But it's really whatever. We'll see how drastic that is. I always liked Tickle Fingers. I thought it was fun, and I rarely get kills with my grenade.
I think the direct counter here is though, and like I said, we don't know if this is exactly everything that they're changing on Storm Trance, but the ability to use your other nodes in Storm, like in that whole set up to get your super quicker or to work through, chaining lightning to other people. I don't know. It might be a bit of balancing that I like there.
Yeah, like when it comes down to it, I'm always like okay with ones that are saying, look, everyone uses this perk. Why not make the other ones viable? And sometimes that comes in the form of a hard to swallow change. But it's like, yeah, no, I never equip those other perks. I have my loadout on Storm. I don't change it. And now maybe I can consider different ones.
My favorite is in the Rise Up video. You hit someone with like maybe 2 shotgun pellets and then hit them with a like storm color melee, and like there's like 15 comments on that YouTube video about that exact moment where it's like, wait, what? Oh, that's a little ridiculous, but sure.
Probably more than 2 pellets, but yeah. I don't know. I think it's a cool.
It's cool, yeah, and it definitely like it's part of that whole immersive feeling. You feel like you are some sort of crazy lightning god.
Yeah, I want to be Sheev Palpatine, all right?
Are you ever running Landfall or are you Ionic Blink?
I use Ionic Blink pretty much permanently. Landfall can be real fun in 6s, and I think that's where this change comes from. A lot of people are like, well, that's not the one the high skill players use. It's okay, well, it's a pretty high skill thing to Ionic Blink around a Fist of Havoc. It doesn't happen every time I pop my super. So I think that's still going to be a cool move where it's like, wow, you pulled off a sick blink and you dodged a Nova Bomb. Congrats, you should be rewarded. The Landfall I can see being a little bit like, okay, the Stormcaller got their super 6 enemies and they're going to get maybe all 6 of them because they basically had a Fist of Havoc from 10 feet up in the air and then continued on to use their super on everyone else and even killed the guy that they landfalled once he spawned. So I can see that being something that affects the middle ground player base, and a lot of good players are going, I don't use that, but that's just, well, in other lobbies, it makes quite a difference. So it does make sense to me. And then the trade-off works. So you go for those initial kills and maybe a few cleanups after that, rather than 3 free kills at the beginning of your super, then continuing on to use a full Storm Trance.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess the last one's me. For Titan, they only focused on Juggernaut. The most hated combo of shotguns is a Juggernaut Titan charging at you with this crazy overshield, and you just shooting at him, and then the shield finally goes down, and you realize you've done no damage to them. Obviously, there's other counters, but they did some changes to make it not the first choice on everybody's loadout. Juggernaut now disables quicker in midair. I think someone said about 2 seconds you'll have it in the air.
I think that's right.
Juggernaut cannot be activated in midair. So if you're just flying through the air, it's just not going to pop up. You got to start running on the ground, activate it first, and then you can start jumping around. I like these changes. I like anything that kind of shakes it up. Juggernaut will still be useful. Like, you're not like that overshield is fun, and you still get it in the air. Remember when you couldn't get it in the air?
Yeah.
You would just always have to have it on the ground, and everybody like, why would I even use Juggernaut? I'll just use Shoulder Charge.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I like it. It's a middle ground where it's not the first thing to pick when you're going into your loadout. That's it. That's it for Titans.
Yeah, it really ties in with this whole aerial gameplay really getting changed. If you're going to be in the air, maybe your primaries are better. It controls the amount of flying around in the sky, shotgunning people. So I think it just sort of goes hand in hand with the overall change. And maybe the change to shotguns was enough for you to think, oh, that's not how I really play anymore. I need to get a little more sneaky or work on my baits and things like that. So it makes sense.
All right, guys, big picture, looking at it as a whole, and even just personally, how do you feel about this? I mean, this is a big change, and standard caveat, we'll play it and find out. We're just speculating. what's the takeaway from this?
I'm nervous. Still nervous.
What, you scared?
I'm honestly nervous about how people will be playing and how some of the lower skill players will take this. Simply because reliance has always been on special ammo. People have always just felt good having that shotgun ammo with them, having that fusion rifle ammo with them, that sniper rifle ammo with them, and being able to use it whenever they want. Having to think about going to one of the 3 or 4 special ammo boxes on the map and like being nervous, like, oh shit, I don't have special ammo. Maybe I'll wait around when it says 25 seconds on the box. But then that's like 25 seconds that you're not actively participating in team shots. You're not actively out there in the fight. I don't know. It feels like it might slow it down a little bit. And I don't necessarily want a slower game. I just want to be able to run around and have fun with the guns that I like. So we'll see on that point. And I also am not sure about trials because they tried it before in trials and it ended up everybody would just use sidearms and then switch, which was always weird, but we'll see.
Want to know what I think, guys? I got 2 things. One is my reaction to these changes. I think that primary play in terms of weapon choice won't change all that much. I think if you like a gun, I think it can still be good. I don't think that Real Crafty is switching to Suros Regime to do his double carries. But I just hope everything feels a little bit more comfy, a little bit more like, ooh, this feels good to use. I like this. Or like if you like auto rifles, you can just be a little happier now. But I don't know if your weapon choices will be like dismantling Clever Dragon and now I'm buying a Parthian shot. I don't know. My other thing is really regards to special ammo. And this is just a little side theory I have. And maybe something I want more than I believe is true. But I have a little side theory that the Activision thing happened today, right? We're recording this when they said sequel is coming end of 2017. So we've got that long to wait. It could be in September. It could be in December. So who knows? Rest of the year. They still have time to do things to Destiny. The live team could play with things. They have an opportunity to test out a few more things before the sequel comes out. Because I have a theory that maybe the sequel, the Crucible, there are no special boxes. That's not how we get ammo. Who knows? It regenerates like our super. I have no idea. But I think that they can do a few things to test that and little things like a special ammo change. And like we saw when they made that change, we played it and then they kind of reverted it back. I think they're going to get in a few more tests before the sequel comes out to say, are we confident? Do we like this? Do we want to see how it works with our huge player base before we put it on the disc for the sequel? So I'm expecting a couple changes on that regard before the sequel comes out. That's my theory.
I like that.
Birds, what do you think?
I think you're right. I mean, TWAB came out today and Deej says, and I don't want to read too much into it, but with 2502 almost off the workbench, our design team is looking at another future release as a potential vehicle for some tuning on artifacts as well. So, of course, they're referring to Scories here. To me, that says that there's more something coming. Another future release is happening, and that artifacts may be a part of that. But for me, this change, this whole patch screams one thing to me, and it should not be a surprise. I've been saying it all episode. Last week, I talked about, in terms of big picture balance patches, I suspect this is the last one that we're going to get. This is the place they're leaving Destiny. And every single one of these changes to me says increase of skill gap, make some things more powerful, make some things that are too easy less powerful. But in almost every case, from shotguns to every single primary, and especially to special ammo, smart players with good mechanics and a head for awareness are going to become more powerful, and players that aren't there yet or refuse to think about this level of the game are going to be punished for it. And that as a model for leaving off Destiny makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, we've already seen, look, a lot of people aren't playing Destiny as much anymore. I certainly am playing a lot of other games. I mean, you can see it in the Trials pool that the people who are playing Trials reliably every weekend, the people who are left are the ones that are really good and are grinding out that elo. That they're leaving this game in a place that has, to a degree we haven't seen in a long time, a big old skill gap and the largest possible learning curve for people to master. And if we think, maybe a year from now, Destiny 2 will be out, all of the sort of casual fun, I'll get it, I'll play the campaign players will be gone. And what will be left are going to be the good players playing scrims and playing trials. And this, I think, is an update for them. Sometimes it's at the expense of a thing that they like to use to be effective now, but big picture, it feels like a reward. Like, you asked for a big skill gap. You asked us to build something that the T1 players are all about. This is just my opinion, but it feels like this was really designed with them in mind more than the player base as a whole, unlike any of the updates we've seen for the past year.
Oh, Destiny.
Oh, Destiny.
What a world. Well, before we start speculating like freaking crazy, you guys want to have a musical break and then answer some questions that other people are thinking about this little patch here?
Sure.
Drop the beat.
Drop the bass.
Today the world ends, hope you didn't happen. It's so you might cancel them. That's only polite. For we must sing our script, millions and millions of lives.
Music this week from Waltz for Venus. Check them out. It's waltzforvenus.com. And if you are a musician, we want to hear your music. We want to play it on the show. You know the drill. Send it on over. Just hit us up. It's crucibleradio@gmail.com.
Welcome back, folks. It's Crucible Radio. You've been listening to us. It's still us. Don't worry. So we've talked all we think we know about what's happening, but obviously people have questions and maybe they've got some angles that we haven't thought of. So what we do every week is we take questions from our patrons that support us on Patreon over at patreon.com/Crucible Radio. Speaking of that, we have to give a couple big special shout outs. We have two patrons who have supported us with $100 patronages, and we love them. So the first one is to Shade. Thank you, Shade. Shade and I did a little coaching session yesterday, and it was a ton of fun. We're working on Shade's target acquisition, trying to make those snipes happen where you're zooming in and it's already on the head rather than making a big adjustment while scoped in and stuff like that. And he sent me some gameplay, and I'm looking forward to helping him kind of get to a higher level because he's got the really good foundation. So it was a lot of fun, and it's really fun for me to kind of talk it out and explain what I do. So Shade, right on. Thank you.
Also, shout out to Shade, who competed in our Kells Angels Classic last week. He was actually in Fallout's qualifier group, so some tough competition. Yep. Put up some great times, made it in more than a couple rounds. And that's what this Patreon's about. Like, when people make donations like that, they let us throw tournaments like that. We're already planning the next one. So thanks to Shade for putting his money where his mouth is, hopping on that Sparrow and competing with some good competition. Glad to see you there.
The second big shout out goes to Caden. Caden, thank you so much. We've been exchanging some messages, and he says, you guys have not only made my gameplay better, but always taught me lessons on positivity, not focusing on the negatives. And honestly, man, that's like the part I care about more at this point. Like, we're all going to get our gun skill together, but remaining positive is awesome. And that means a lot to us. So thank you to both Caden and Shade and all of our other patrons. If you want to join this squad, you get a bonus podcast. We talked about TV a lot on the last one. We got some big Star Wars chat coming up, and how much I love pina coladas, apparently, as well as also opportunities to play with us and raffles and giveaway, man. All right, so let's get to these questions.
I don't know a better question to start with than Caden's question. I like this one. Caden asks, honestly, I am more curious about how the meta will shift with the changes to special. Will we be seeing a lot more no-land sidearm combos?
I have an answer. Here's my thought. I think I'm right.
Go for it.
I thought I knew what was up last week, though, and we were all widely wrong. So who knows?
Take it with a grain of salt.
But we see that come up a lot, and I think it comes up almost every change. Like, oh, everyone's going to go to Icebreaker and no land. I think that sidearms could definitely have a chance for the first time in a while to be a powerful tool. We've seen them used in good hands, and they definitely get kills, but they're always at a little bit of a disadvantage. I do think they could rise up. Well, pun not intended. In terms of No Land Beyond, though, I think that gun is incredible. I love using it. I think it's amazing in really good hands. I mean, go watch Grenadier Jake play trials, and you're just like, what the? But I don't think it appeals to everyone. I don't think a majority of players are going like, oh, I like that. Or, they're not trying to work on the reload cancel. They don't like being out without their primary and stuff like that. I don't think it is a widely appealing gun.
Yes.
That's why I don't think it'll just show up and be the new meta.
I'm one of those people. I do not like using No Land Beyond. I don't like how it feels. I don't like how it feels just to not have a primary. It just feels weird to just be like, all right, well, I'm rocking a little bit of a disadvantage here because I don't really. What if I run out of special ammo? I don't have that backup. I'm just stuck here with this long range sniper rifle. So I understand the benefits of it, and I understand why people like it. It's just not for me.
I think I'm right in the middle. I love No Land Beyond. I am garbage with it. It's a high skill weapon, and I think it's cemented a position as a choice for high skill players who can reliably land close range shots with it, much less long range. Not me. I wish it was.
Yeah, expected in trials. There's going to be a good NLB user out there who will give you a run for your money. Just stay away from those corners like you would with any other sniper. Get up close, get in that mid range, and beat them there.
I think you're just going to see a lot of people discovering how great the Trespasser is.
Oh God, I forgot about that one. So good.
All right, we got another question. This one's from Kalen. My precious Mida might be back. Sidearms viable, even for the very cool people. I've always personally enjoyed them. What are you most looking forward to yank out of the vault, or at least not get made fun of for using, in my case? I love changes. Brings me back to the game. Admittedly, I've taken some time off, but I got texting with my friends about it, and I can't wait to dive into the Crucible again with them and wanted your guys' take.
So I asked this question. On Twitter to everyone when it dropped. Right after the Twitch combo. I asked what everybody's going to pull out of the depths of their vault. Like, what do you guys have that is just hidden in your vault that you're just waiting to pull out and give it a try on Tuesday?
Kvostov. Necrochasm.
Necrochasm. Oh my God.
I just want to use weird exotic auto rifles again.
Necrochasm new meta.
They could have not changed auto rifles at all, and I'm just like, I'm pulling out Necrochasm.
Well, Swain, I'm curious. What did you hear?
Ah, man, everything. all over the map. I've seen a lot of people talking about some like weird answering cord that they might have in their vault. Mm-hmm. Hakon's hatchet. A lot of people were saying that. We were seeing some Nerwins, some Suros regimes, but a lot of people just want to pull out some of the guns that everybody else used to like. Hawkmoon was a big one. I personally want to see how Thorn reacts to that initial accuracy buff. I want to see how, like, because Thorn does have, like, being able to track someone for a little while and having someone not be able to recover while they are underneath that, that tick, could be fun. Like, could be fun again. I wanna see if it's a menace.
Yeah, I mean, I'd already thrown out a couple. I mean, it's not very original. I want to try the answering chord again, see what's up. I want to try the Suros and see what's up. I think the one that's going to be interesting for me, I've been using legendary hand cannons for the most part this past couple balances. I used the exotic hand cannon trio all throughout year one, and I want to go back. I want to give that Hawkmoon a shot and see if it feels right. And you mentioned Thorn. Last Word still does work. I want to really give it a fair shake, and not just because I want to chaperone. I want to see if you can map with it, even if you're not hitting for that much damage.
Swain, I'm also very interested in Thorn. I mentioned does not bow. Hawkmoon, yeah. There's a lot. I'm looking at my vault right now. There's a lot. I would love the full Monty meta to be a thing and get that Monte Carlo going, because I got that freaking ornament. I want to use it. That's it.
Yeah, a lot of them revolve around the ornaments, I think. Like, I want to use my Moon Glow
Right?
Hawkmoon. But aside from Thorn, I think Suros Regime. I genuinely love that gun. I used it for a little while, somewhere in the middle between when it was good and current Suros.
The first ornament.
Yeah, and I like it. I dig that gun, and I especially dig it with like the focus fire, where it's like really slow and it's like tick 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 tick. Just feels like a full auto scout rifle in some situations. Those are what we're gonna pull out.
Yep, lots to play. Keith Brewster also asks, how do you feel about the Clever, Grasp, and Waltz getting the rate of fire nerf? I feel like the problem is that they have too much range. Do you hope they just didn't mention a range nerf and it will be in the patch notes? Please be in the notes. Well, Birds, you did mention the range in reference to snipers. We kind of went over this. But the rate of fire, like I said, I think it's just going to be a little more almost unnoticeable, but if it's a little more comfortable to use, I might like it. I don't know. It's a very minor change.
I have trouble using those guns without full auto on them, to be honest. My beloved Zizaji has got full auto, and that's what makes the gun make sense. I can't pull the trigger as like perfectly as full auto gives me. So we'll see. One frame is not a lot, but feels a touchy thing.
Okay, so a couple other questions from our patrons, not necessarily about the patch. We like to mix it up here, cover different aspects of the game. So how about this? Otter asks, you're going into trials and must choose Overwatch characters as your guardian. Who are you bringing in? Okay, here's what we need to establish first. Are we going up against 3 guardians? Should we just assume?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They're playing Destiny. And for,
So it's a 3v3.
For reasons we can't explain, we're playing Overwatch characters. This is the premise to a wacky 80s comedy. I mean, like, I'm going to be unoriginal and say Reinhardt, Mercy, and Soldier.
Oh, Reinhardt and Trials. Oh, my God.
Do I still have Scories? Can I camp with Scories behind a Reinhardt shield?
You're old.
To get my Earth strike out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Farah, like 3 Farahs.
Oh,
Like,
shit.
3 Ferris. You're going to get torn up by Destiny aim. Are you kidding me?
But
I'll
still,
snipe you
I
out
can
of
be
the sky
so,
for days.
I can be so far up in the air that you guys can't reach me. And you're not going to have special ammo because once you die, boom.
That's true. You've got the no land equivalent of.
I'll just put rockets on special crates.
There you go. Fonzie, what do you like?
I think McCree would be cool.
Yep.
And definitely tough to aim, but maybe maybe playing Destiny will get the nice comfy Destiny aim assist and I can actually hit shots like a normal person. But I'd freaking love the stun grenade in Destiny. Like imagining a Jug Titan coming at me and I just whip down that grenade and he's frozen in place while I go full auto on him. That would be so much fun. I feel like that'd be cool.
like for me, when I saw McCree, it's like, oh, they just did Night Stalker. You've got a roll.
Right.
You've got like an area of effect, slow down and confuse, and you're probably holding a hand cannon like the last word.
Yeah. Okay,
so McCree, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Who else?
That's just like he's a Slayer, so it's just a lot like a Guardian. I've been hot with Roadhog.
Oh yes.
In some comp Overwatch lately, like my hook is nasty, and I feel
I
like
want to change mine.
I'd have a lot of fun, like a Night Stalker shade stepping to the side and predicting it, and just landing the hook and pulling him in. That low armor hunter getting the headshot. Roadhog would be nasty. He'd be nasty.
You can take a healer. You want to do some wall riding with Lucia?
Nah.
Zenyatta.
Who needs it?
Nah. Maybe Ana mess with the sleep dart and stuff. Just get that ultimate bad manners.
All right. I think we've reached our limit of the amount of Overwatch we're allowed to talk on this show.
Right. We're constantly in check these days.
Yep. All right. We got another question?
Let's see.
Last one from Twerk on Twitter says, how do y'all adapt when a new meta occurs? Do you play the way you usually do or try to find out what's good right away? So personally, I can say that from experience, the first day is just a shit show.
Yes.
It is people in the Crucible, everyone playing with stuff that is just, like I said, the bottom of their vault. Whatever they could pull out, whatever they find, it ends up finding its way into the Crucible for that day. You end up yourself using a Doctrine of Passion, and it doesn't do well against whatever the hell everyone else is using at that moment. The meta for me occurs weeks afterwards. It happens slowly. It happens over 2 trials weekends. Maybe someone figures it out during the first one and they make a great video of how well they did in trials using this auto rifle, or hey, I got this pulse rifle that really works out, and you realize, oh, I've got that too. It's just been chilling in my vault. Well, let me try it out. And the meta occurs after you feel comfortable with a gun, after you feel comfortable using something for a little while. It's not going to happen right away. I know from experience that, like, even during one night when I switch from a scout to a hand cannon, it's going to take me a few games to get used to playing that hand cannon again, getting my hand cannon shot back on. The same thing goes with different, archetypes of pulse rifles, different when you're going from gun to gun. It's not going to feel comfortable right away. And not feeling comfortable doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means that you have to give it more time.
Bonesy.
I like to play how I play and pay attention to what feels different and try to narrow it down. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going in with a loadout I'm very comfortable with. Like when I play on Tuesday, I will probably put on my Party Crasher and an IS Luna and see how that feels. And if I notice something different, I can pinpoint it. What I don't want to do when we're all in the shit show, like Swain said, I don't want to throw on a hitchhiker and a Grim Citizen that I've never used and it's just in my vault and just go like, well, I don't know. Let's see. Because I think I'm not as comfortable with that loadout, so I don't know what's different, and I'm not really learning anything. I'm just sort of shooting at stuff in the dark. So I'm going to play my loadouts and then go from there and start picking up what feels different and then relearning those things slowly as opposed to just throwing on something I'm not used to.
For me, the hardest thing and the most rewarding thing in video games and in life in general is being pushed or choosing to leave your comfort zone and getting comfortable outside of your comfort zone, and your comfort zone gets bigger. I'm going to be pulling everything out of my vault. I'm going to watch my KD plummet. And I'm totally okay with it. I'm coming to terms with the fact that I'm probably going to have to give up the shotgun. Not to say shotguns won't do work. They're definitely going to do work. But in my hands, maybe not. I'm going to pull out that iron wreath and work on that precision, pull out the trespasser, work on the precision. I know I'm probably going to have to make a major change in my gameplay. Maybe it's not that, but I'm going to be forced to change, and I'm looking forward to it.
Forced to change, but we're looking forward to it. That's a good final
I clearly
thought.
had some time to think about my answer. So.
Yeah.
It's a good podcast title right there.
Good little podcast title you got there. Nice job. All right, should we shut this thing down and go play this patch, which is hopefully out by the time you're hearing this?
I think so.
All right, let's wrap it up, guys.
Wrap it up.
As always, you can find us everywhere on the internet at Crucible Radio. CrucibleRadio.com will be your hub for finding shirts, finding old footage. You know, the SRL thing was there. We have episodes there. Please follow us on the YouTubes. If you love listening to us on Planet Destiny's YouTube channel, follow our YouTube at Crucible Radio. We will be putting all of our new episodes on there from going forward. We'll be pulling some clips out. You'll be able to find quick, little bits from old episodes on there as well.
Mm-hmm. All of our Kells Angels coverage is going up, so check that out. You're going to see the final matches. You're going to see some cool stuff from there.
And there'll be some little tidbits coming along eventually from Bonesy, myself, some guest editors. We'll see. But follow us over there. We appreciate it. And we love you guys. See you next week.
Heck yeah. Bye.
Goodbye. And to take us out, I don't even want to address the question. I would like to play a clip from an old episode that I think summed up an issue well. So, Andrew, cue it up. Here's one that I don't think we need a big answer to, but we just need it on the record once and for all. This one comes from Mr. Cursed Sun. Do you think your top game testers could hang in with some serious sweaty matches?
Oh man, yes.
Yes.
100%.
Absolutely.
We have like former MLG players and stuff.
Yeah, we have a few.
We have people that are in the top NMR brackets working with us.
Yeah.
Great. Glad that's been established.
1v1 me, bro.
I'll tell a quick story that I know has been on the show before, but there was a time we luckily got to play with John and another tester, and we were on an Iron Banner, Black Shield, and I just remember me running around, and in the party chat, I just hear, oh, I just got another no-scope. Oh, I just got another one. Oh my God, I'm just destroying them.
The kill feed is just all headshots, and it's like, what are you doing?
Just running around freely murking people. So, they exist, and I'm scared of them.
Yeah.
They like to rub our noses in it a little bit too, things like that.
Yeah. I mean, some of our internal guys here are so good that they actually make it hard for us to make the game sometimes. You'll be excited about a thing and you bring it into the lab, and then like one of the guys gets their hands on it, and you're just like, I really wanted to ship that, but obviously, like, I'm just giving these people a nuke. Like, I just can't do that. So, yeah.
Damn it.